We now have the privilege of hearing from a member of the Bowden family, Kane Bowden, and hopefully he's going to be zoomed into us from Unbreakable.
Thanks, Paul. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge how fitting it is that it's NAIDOC week and that I'm on Unbreakable Pitjantjatjara Yunkajarra land here in Central Australia. I pay respects to the traditional owners here and all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in this country. Thanks, Warren. That was humbling. I know you shared in our grief when we lost Dad earlier in the year and had tremendous respect for him, evident in your words today. Thanks for acknowledging the Davis mob too. I'll be with them tonight and we can reflect on all the people you mentioned that Dad impacted. And Pat, yours were special words and will be cherished by the family. I think Bowden's might be making a habit of co-opting you to speak at special events, Pat. Just last year, I believe you spoke at O'Loughlin College in Darwin, where Rhett, our brother, is the principal. Rhett tells me that it was a wonderful address to the students and also that your nephews are both emerging leaders there. Pat, you were right in saying that Dad was trusted by the Artunda people and that he understood true listening to obtain deep understanding, evident in his book. You might be interested to know that Dad had an annotated copy of your book, Paddy's Road, Pat. He saw you as a determined and decent hero of Aboriginal people. He admired you deeply, Pat. So our thanks again for what you've done to launch his book today and give it the profile it deserves. We also want to thank a few others very quickly. Firstly, Mike Pera, for his tireless work to bring this book to life. Your energy, Mike, has seen this project through and we thank you for it. Laurie Maloney's also been a big part of this project and we thank you, Laurie, for everything you've done. Playing your part was critical to getting Dad's ideas out of the PhD format and into something that every Australian can read. Dad's great mate, David Horgan, has also been a massive part of getting this book onto the shelves. David, we can't thank you enough. Paul, Warren, Zorba, David W, Robin, Ben, Sarah, Mick, Terry, thank you for your work on this project also. I'm sorry if I've missed anyone. Of course, many others have played a part in making Dad's book a reality, especially Dad's confidants, especially Paddy Muggovan, collaborators and thesis supervisors. We thank you all, too many to name, of course, for your selflessness and commitment. Somehow it seems fitting that as I've been thinking about what to say today, I've been out on the APY lands. Just last Friday, I paid a visit to the place where it all began for Mum and Dad, Unbreakable, or otherwise known as Pukaja. Dad writes in his book about Pukaja and our time there in the 80s, in particular about his friendship with Gordon Inkajee. It's a great chapter and alone worth buying the book for. While I was there, I spent some all too brief time with senior Jilpi Pepai Jungala. While we lived in Unbreakable, Pepai worked as a policeman. I was thrilled to see him, at first not recognising him, given the years that have passed. It's true to say that our family has a strong affection for Pepai, and my feeling is that is mutual. After greeting each other, I used my very rusty Pitjantjatjara to catch up as best as I could on what he'd been doing, what he felt were the issues for the community, and discovered that he was now painting. Those of you who have read Dad's book will draw the link to Gordon Inkajee here. Anyway, it didn't take long before we were walking together over to the Unbreakable Arts Building and for Pepai to settle into working on a large canvas, already significantly advanced. It was a beautiful piece and I let him know that I thought so. He smiled and explained it to me a bit. Now, I'm a fan of the late Sir Ken Robinson, who talked about the concept of being in your element. As he leaned forward, carefully looking for the right place to make his next mark, I realised Pepai was in his element, painting his jukupa. And it struck me that in writing first his thesis and then turning that thesis into his book, Dad was doing exactly what Pepai is doing. He was recording important knowledge so that it can guide future generations. In doing so, Dad was in his element, right up to the end. While it's for the reader to decide what they get out of Dad's knowledge, as it is recorded in this book, one thing is for sure. You can't but be inspired by the brilliance of Algera and the Arrernte people. Dad's love and deep knowledge of Arrernte people and culture is illuminated in these pages, and it is for all of us to benefit from. Like Laurie says in his foreword, not every reader will fully follow Dad into the depths of mystery, as Dad called it, at the heart of the book. But regardless of where we find ourselves along the natural and spiritual dimensions of Einstein's cosmic religion, it is impossible to come away from the book without an enhanced sense of wonder and optimism, and with renewed feelings of genuine humility. Now, before I finish up, I just want to make a special acknowledgement of our sister Magella. As Warren said, Magella is as brilliant as our father, and without her, this book just doesn't exist. Marg Carmody may have been the catalyst for Dad to set out to write something that she could get her head around, but without Magella, Margie would still be scratching her head. Well done on your achievement, Jel, in seeing Dad's vision through. His voice is authentically captured, and we have you to thank for that. When it's all said and done, Mike Bowden was a teacher. It was his greatest gift. Unbreakable Rock leaves his voice behind so he can continue to teach anyone who is interested. Dad's book honours Aboriginal people, and no one says it better than his Arrernte friends, Therese, MK, Kathleen and Margaret, when they say his work is their echo. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you so much, Kane.